Speaking of the 1980s, joining us live in studio tonight is the great Alex English alongside Christopher Dempsey here. Great to have you on board, my friend. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Did that look like an 80s game at all or no?
No. I thought the Nuggets looked kind of tired.
Yeah.
You know, after coming off that road trip. They weren't as sharp defensively. In New York, they seemed very comfortable. They shot the ball well. I thought Anunoby was just out of sight.
Well, he had a career high, 40 points tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, he was spectacular.
And then the kid McBride, he made some shots.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Brunson, he's solid.
You know, when guys start getting hot like that, Anunoby and Miles McBride, like, what can you do to kind of get them back in an inefficient space? Like, let's get them to miss some shots.
You try to get them to in a manageable space. That's hard, unless you've got a great defender like we had. We had T.R. Dunn.
Yeah.
They had a great defender that you could put on him and say, hey, this is your job. You've got to slow him down. But he was just in a mood, in a groove tonight. I don't know if anybody could have stopped him from scoring like he did.
All right, let's take a look at ball all in, aluminum all in. Most points in Nuggets history belongs to the man to the right of Dempsey there. And he averaged 29.8, just under 30 a game in that 1985-86 season. No Nugget has ever averaged more than 30, believe it or not. You got very close, Alex.
Yes.
Were you aware how close you were late in that season?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. You know, you notice what you're doing.
You know, and I said this to Vic earlier, and I said, you know, look, could you imagine what you would have averaged if, like, they were leaning into the three-point line the way they were leaning in? Just talk about how that has evolved, and would you have loved to put up 10 three-pointers in a game?
I don't know if I could have done that. I would have, I'm sure, you know, with the advent of the three-point line, you work on your game. You work on the parts of the game that matters. And I would have worked on the three-point shot. I enjoyed playing the mid-range game, though. Mm-hmm. You know, that all those points, most of those points were two-point shots. So it wasn't, it wasn't a three-point shot. I would have loved to have tried, but I've tried it since I retired. I'm no good at it.
I doubt
Alex,
that.
your release point, I mean, you shot the ball way above your head.
And that would have made a three-point shot difficult to shoot because, you know, when you're shooting it from here, you don't have the extension here and the push. I would get it up here and then let go.
It was all wrist at that point.
All wrist.
How did you develop that? At what point in your life did you say, I'm going to shoot it from here?
I developed that. I was in a high school championship game, and I kept getting my shot blocked by this guy by the name of Clyde Mays, and I was shooting the ball from here. And I went back after we lost in the state championship. I went back to the gym, and I was in the gym working on my jump shot because I was frustrated. And my high school principal came in, and he was standing there watching. He was looking at me, and he said, you're going to have to change your shot. You're going to have to get your shot up. So what I did was I started working on trying to jump as high as I could and then releasing the ball at the tip of that, at the tip of the shot. And I did it a lot and kept working on it.
How long did that take to master?
It took another year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know another player who has a high release point is Nikola Jokic. He's already 7 feet tall, and then he releases it above his head. You've had some great things to say about Nikola in the past, but you said something during the game tonight that did not go unnoticed. You think this man has a chance to be the greatest who ever lived?
I think he's got a chance to be, you know, he's still got a body of work to finish. And he's won a championship. He's got the possibility of winning more. And what he's done as far as changing the way the center position is played is, you know, it hasn't been done before.
Yeah, you know, it really is amazing what he has done. And we ask every year, I mean, he's won 3 MVPs, right? And we ask every year, well, can he even get better than this? To which I always say, I don't think so. He's already amazing, but then he always does. Is there anything that he has done now or continues to do that surprises, amazes, any superlative there that you think of?
I think you probably named all of them. You know, what I think he's good at is that he knows his body. And when he's on the floor in his position on the basketball court, if you notice when he's in the paint or around the paint and he shoots the ball here, he's still got that extension, but he's still got that big body between him and the defender. So the defender cannot get, you rarely see that shot blocked. And then if he's got footwork that's excellent.
You know, and his consistency. So we put your numbers up with 29.8. I think he came into this game averaging just a little bit over 30. Could you speak to just how difficult it actually is to continue to put those numbers up every single night when defenses know and they're trying their best to make sure that you don't get to them?
It's tough, but his job is to do that. His job is to score. So you work on your job, and I think he'll continue to score 30 or more. There'll probably be some nights where he might even get 50, and it'll balance out. It'll be nights where he may get 18, 10, but then there'll be nights where he'll get 40, maybe even 50.
The leading scorer of the 1980s right here. The leading scorer of the decade, Alex English. When he played for the Denver Nuggets, Alex English missed a grand total of 7 games. 7 games in the decade of the 80s. Dudes miss 7 games in the first 2 weeks these days.
Yeah, oh, I know.
What do you attribute that durability to?
Just taking care of my body. I wasn't really heavy. I was probably a lot thinner than I am now. So I was always stretching, always eating well. And I loved playing. You know, there were nights when I felt like I didn't want to play, but I would play because I loved the game so much.
What do you think about players taking nights off just to rest, and all of these issues now that kind of go along with players' body management here in the NBA?
Well, I mean, they've got body management and they've got flights out on first-class planes every night after the game. We would have to get up we'd play a game and get up at 6 in the morning and take a 7:30 flight to go to the next city and play the next night, and may do the same thing the next game.
And you had to sit next to Hanslick.
And I had to sit next to Hanslick, so that was not easy. But you know, I guess it'll prolong their careers. LeBron James, it's worked wonders for him.
Yeah.
But then he takes care of his body. More power to him.
Hey, before we hear from Coach Malone, and we were going to get his thoughts on tonight's game, which wasn't pretty, you played for a coach for most of your career. Doug Moe, up until Saturday night, had the most wins in Nuggets history, 432. Yes. 99% of those wins came with Alex English on the court. So you were a big reason, much like Coach Malone has had Nikola Jokic for the bulk of those games. Can you explain to these good people watching here, what was it like playing for that man?
Oh, it was great. He was a lot of fun. You can see his antics on the court, off the court. But whenever he would be fired up and cursing us out and talking a lot of shit, but after the game, he was one of us. You know, he would fit right in, and that game is over, let's go to the next game, and we would have great times.
And was he before his time a little bit in terms of the style that you guys played? A lot of passing, motion. We see it in the NBA now all the time, but you guys were doing it back then.
We see it in the NBA now, but not like the way we did it. When we played, it was the pace. I don't know if they can get it much faster than they do now, but as soon as the ball went through the net, we were taking it out and going down the floor, and there was no stopping. We would be moving until the referee called the foul. And the offensive sets that we ran was so dynamic that teams couldn't scout. All they knew is that they're going to pass the ball and they're going to cut and they're going to run and then they're going to shoot sometimes and then they're going to keep doing that.
Is it true that you didn't really have any plays?
We had plays. We had reads. We would read whatever the players on the floor did. Like if it was on a wing and they pass it to a wing, then that guy who passes the ball knows what he's got to do, and everybody else just fits right in. So it was
made you really very difficult to guard as a team.
Yeah, it was so easy.
We mentioned three-point shooting. You scored so many points. If the three-point line was a bigger factor, do you know how many three-pointers you made in your career? I have it right in front of me.
I have no idea.
18 of them.
I made 18.
18 three-pointers.
I didn't know I shot that many.
I was going to say, is that 17
I think OG Anunoby made 18 of them tonight.
Well,
I mean, the game is. Do you like this? Do you like that the three-point line has taken such front and center role in this game?
I like it. I like it because it's expanded the game, but you also miss the game in between the three-point line and the goal, because there was a lot of the players that I played with and against. You know, they were the ones that they made the art of the game. You know, the Julius Irvings, the Elgin Baylors, the Dominique Wilkins. They weren't shooting three-pointers. Yeah. They were getting to that basket and trying to get to the basket, maneuvering between the defense and then getting there and doing something with the ball. That's an art form to me.
You know, a lot of what's happening in the NBA and I guess in basketball in general, analytics have a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Analytics, that changed the game. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure. I look back at my career and look back at the highest scoring game in NBA history. We played the Detroit Pistons, and it was 186-184. And there were no analytics other than the coach giving you a scouting report and telling you, this guy is going to do this guy is going to do that, and you've got to stop it.
You know, the analytics in his day was Chopper Travellini saying, just rub some dirt on it, you'll be fine.
Yeah, he'd rub something on us.
Alex, it was a pleasure, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all.
Give it up for Alex English, everybody.